Hi guys, I'm Country Gal Bubba here on Crooked Sea Acres, and on this episode of Modern Day Homesteading in Arizona, we are doing episode 2, part 2 of Building the Foundation. First of all, I just have to say I'm incredibly happy that this guy actually showed up to work. That was all I needed this morning, honestly. If you saw part 1, you know what I'm talking about. If you didn't, go watch part 1 so it'll make a little more sense. Anyway, let's see what's going on. Okay, so as you can see, we have hired a guy to come out with his tractor, and he was digging out 4 of the footers for us. Billy used a laser level. He knows exactly how deep he needed to go. And then right about here, we had a major problem. So there was a big old rock that was one big rock. They were able to break it up. However, you can't hardly see it, but starting about right there and then going back, we know that that's about a 10-foot length of a big, massive rock. So right now we're doing the rest of the footer, or digging out for the rest of the footers to see what other problems we come across, and we will be checking with a local company tomorrow about possibly renting a tractor that has a jackhammer, and yeah, we're gonna jackhammer this rock out. My son really wants to use explosives, but I don't think the neighbors would like that. Here in Apache County, they want the footers 18 inches wide and 8 inches deep. They said we could go deeper, which we're gonna do. My husband wants to do about a foot deep, I believe. And then in the middle supports, that's where he's standing right now, they are going to be about 24 inches square. The supports are for the middle of the house. But of course, you know, they got to dig out that big old hole. And so my husband will be forming it to create the concrete pad. So obviously we're not just filling in those massive holes with concrete. It'll be formed and then we will backfill it. So what they're doing is they're measuring the depth. Right over there is the, that's our laser level. And so it beeps and has sensors. So we know that it's gonna be the depth necessary while they're working. It's a pretty cool piece of equipment. And that's because we have, obviously there's a slope here. So the back side of the house will be a different depth than, of course, the front side of the house. So you know it's level. That sound of the rocks, and I'm just hoping that that's all it is him digging into that caliche. That whitish colored rock there is really hard. It's something that you can scrape across and it seems real tough, but you gotta like use a pick, you know, really poke at it to break it up. And I'm just praying it's not another big giant rock. So it's exactly what I was thinking it was. They were scraping at that caliche. They were unable to go any further in that corner right here. So he's starting to go the other side, the front of the house. So far it's also caliche, but it's breaking through. So they're hoping that if they can get through to the right depth, going that direction, that they can come back at it going that way. Like, cause it's like scraping in that direction. They were just having a hard time. And obviously that doesn't sound good, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully we don't have to use the jackhammer here as well. So far in that corner, the caliche is too hard. But thankfully we're only about 4 inches off, which is okay. Well, in the one spot, because my husband wanted to go a foot deep on the footers. We're only required to go 8 inches. So it should be fine right there. Spilling my stuff. Okay. And as far as this big rock over here that we know we have to deal with, one of the guys that's here working, we got Ray, and Ray. It's grandfather, dad, and son. He said that he remembers in the past that the county inspector had approved to have the rock drilled into to put the rebar in, and basically the rock becomes part of the footer. So we'll be calling the inspector tomorrow because today is the 4th of July. Billy, my husband, sitting here working on his birthday. And so we're gonna see if perhaps we can do that. If so, then we'll be in a better position, because renting a tractor with a jackhammer, we know that the septic company said they would charge us $1,000 a day if we had to utilize that piece of equipment. But we don't know what it would cost for us to rent it ourselves. Either way, we don't want anything that costs any more money. Everything's so expensive now. So let's just let's pray it all works out. So here's what we want it to look like. And here's what all we're able to do. That is all solid rock. You can't get through it. So that means we have to get a jackhammer. This really, really sucks. These are the support holes for the front porch. They really shouldn't be this big, but you know, there are huge rocks. Digging out for the footers for the mudroom off the front porch. Trying to get at a major rock. The soil was moving. He was hoping he could pop it up. You see it moving. Oh, there it goes. Holy cow. Got it. See, there's more rocks underneath it. Big, huge rocks. Holy cow. So in this area here, you can see that it's not entirely flat, right? It's actually deep enough that my husband said he will be able to stair step the foundation, or sorry, excuse me, the footers, which is the concrete that's laid down prior to doing the block. So right now we're in the final stretch. He is digging out the holes for the supports on our big back porch. So far so good. It's been about 5 hours of doing some dirt work here, and hopefully this will be better, because it is closer to where the septic tank was, and they didn't have hardly any problems at all digging the septic tank. And this back portion of the house foundation was probably the easiest part and the least amount of rocks. So So far, so good. Starting to get a little bit of sprinkles. The rain's coming in. Par for the course during monsoon season in Arizona. You just gotta work around it, work with it, deal with it. So far, the last few holes are being dug without any surprise major rocks, which is fantastic. So here, after a few hours, what we know we need to do next is this hole here didn't get to be dug very deep because of a big rock. We have to jackhammer that out. This corner here, it's a little bit high. We have to jackhammer that out because after measuring, it will not be covered with the concrete footer, so it's going to interfere with where we need to place the block. In here, like I said earlier, Billy's just gonna stair step that. You can get away with that. Same as down in here, this will actually be, this is the footer for the mudroom up front. So not too terrible. And then that big spot back there, I filmed that earlier, where that big rock's probably about 10 foot wide. Huge rock. We are gonna jackhammer that, but we're gonna just try to rent a hand jackhammer rather than a big expensive tractor with a jackhammer. Well, that was it for part 2 of the foundation, and we will see you next time on Modern Day Homesteading in Arizona.